Okay, so today let's look at yet another limit question. So always remember that when we deal with the limits, we first start with direct substitution. So let's substitute h equals 0 into our function. What we get is 2 plus 0 cubed minus 8 over 0, which we get 0 over 0. This is an indeterminate form, which means that direct substitution does not work. So let's hang on a bit, okay? Because this so-called limit question is really not a simple limit question, because what this question is examining is actually the definition of derivatives. So I am going to write the two definition of derivatives right here. So the first one is that f prime of x is equal to limit as h approaches 0 of f(x) plus h minus f of x over h, okay? And the second definition of derivatives is f prime of a equals limit as x approaches a of fx minus fa over x minus a. Okay, so these are the two basic definitions of the derivatives. So let's just get back to our original limit. Okay, and let's just rewrite this limit a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna write it right here. We can rewrite this limit as 2 plus h cubed minus 2 cubed. Why? Because 8 is equal to 2 cubed. Okay, over h. Okay, so now let's just look real careful. Okay, so if you're sharp enough, you realize that these two limits are really similar, if not exactly the same. So what we're going to do is that we are going to use this derivative to solve our limit. So first of all, we want to use the derivative to solve our limit. So we have here f prime of x. This is what we want to solve. Now, obviously, we need to know what's the f of x, right? So obviously, it's not really hard to see that because we have two cubes here and we have double f's here. Our f of x is obviously x cubed, right? And so what's our x? What's our x we're trying to find? Again, it's not really hard to see that it's the 2, right? The x is the 2 we're trying to find. So what we're trying to find is f prime of 2, right? Now we need to know what is the derivative of x cubed. Now we need to use a basic concept in calculus to solve the derivative called the power rule. So I'm going to write it right here real quick. The power rule. Okay, so the power rule states that for an f of x, okay, which is a single term, let's just say a x to the nth power, the derivative, which is f prime of x, is equal to an times x to the n minus 1 power. So this is really important, and this is going to help us solve this limit. Okay, so getting back to f of x, now we know that f prime of x is equal to, using the power rule, 3 times x squared. Now, substituting 2 back into f prime of x, we know that f prime of 2 equals 3 times 2 squared, which is equal to 12. So 12 is the correct answer to our so-called limit.